Hello everyone, and welcome to another video from the Tiny Menagerie. This stripy little fish, which looks like the love child from a hillstream loach and a khulie loach, is in fact a serpent loach, a species that sadly isn't all too common in the aquarium hobby. They are small loaches, only growing to about 3 inches from the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail, and they have a supremely peaceful nature that makes them suitable for keeping with a wide range of different tank mates. But what are serpent loaches like to keep, and what kind of setup do they need? Well, serpents hail from the Mekong River and tributaries in Thailand and Laos, where they're typically found in wide open water with a moderate flow and often over very rocky or gravelly substrate. These waters are fast, well oxygenated, but not a raging torrent, an environment the serpent loach has become very well adapted to. And, much like the rather better-known hillstream loach, serpent loaches have wide, flattened pectoral and pelvic fins which allow them to grip onto the surfaces they're trying to move across, keeping them in place even when the water is fairly fast. Hillstreams, of course, have just taken this to the next level, and their body has basically just become some grippy fins with a bit of fish in between it. Serpent loaches, though, are a little bit more fishy rather than grippy, as they're adapted to that slightly slower water flow. This being the case then, when setting up a tank for your serpents to be comfortable in, you'll want to provide them with plenty of smooth, rocky hardscape like river rocks and pebbles so that they've got somewhere to explore and snuffle around. Avoid rocks though that have got sharp edges like dragonstone or lava rock, as these can damage the loach fins and their soft undersides. When it comes to tank size, serpents are strictly bottom-dwelling fish. They will never leave the substrate if they can help it, apart from to occasionally climb up the glass or a particularly tall rock. And so the footprint of the tank is far more important than the water volume. Luckily though, these are not the most active of species, and they will often set up home around a rocky area that they particularly like, somewhere that has plenty of shelter and places where they can get underneath the rocks or bits of wood, and once home is established, they will stay in that area, and so a minimum tank size of 60 by 30 centimeters is perfectly acceptable for them. They are also a social species, and like many of their loach cousins, they exhibit a wide array of different social behaviours, which is a big part of what makes them so appealing to keep. So you will want to keep them in a group with at least 6 individuals. If possible, that is. I sadly only have 2 at the moment because my group has slowly whittled down over the years, although I do hold out a tiny little hope that my remaining pair just might be a male and female, so I may have a go at breeding them at some point in the future. But for now, I have never seen them for sale again since I bought these 2, which is one of the problems of keeping rarer fish. And that's a shame, because serpents definitely shine when they are interacting with each other, and I thoroughly enjoy watching them spend their day going between snuffling about the place looking for food, perching up somewhere and watching the world go by, and then slinking off to go and annoy each other. They can be a little bit feisty when they're winding each other up, especially when they found a gap in the rockwork that they particularly like and one of them wants to take over it as a bit of a territory. Then they will chase away anything that looks even vaguely loach-like, including yo-yos or chain loaches. But there is little to no aggression in them. They might do a little bit of chasing, but they've certainly never done each other or any other fish any harm at all. In fact, so long as the tank is set up to accommodate them with plenty of hiding places and those smooth rocks, then serpent loaches make great community tank inhabitants. They can survive in fast-flowing water, but they seem perfectly comfortable in still or very slow-moving water as well. And as they have no interest at all in swimming up into open water, they can be kept with even the teensiest of little fish perfectly safely, such as the tiniest of the rasboras. In fact, serpent loaches are generally just very peaceful, to the point where they can be quite shy. This is a species that will disappear as soon as anyone gets close to the tank. They will immediately vanish off between the rocks or to the back of the tank and find somewhere nice and dark where they can hide, wonderfully camouflaged by those stripes. This might be something that puts you off them, as they can have a tendency to disappear just when you really want to see them. They will come back out again if you stay still, but if you move, funnily enough, they will just flee immediately. This is something I rather like about them though. I like fish that aren't always out and about, so that when they do show themselves, they are extra appreciated. And I have found this skittishness to be regardless of how brave the fish around them are. Dither fish aren't going to help in this instance. Even when you're keeping them with really brave catfish like some of the larger khulies, serpents are just not so easily fooled into thinking they are safe. And these rather independent little fish will happily leave those other ones to be eaten by the predator if there's something around that has upset them. And not only are they a bit shy, they can also be a bit sensitive too, and they will very quickly succumb in a tank that has poor water conditions, or if what were once stable conditions suddenly become changeable, such as if you decide to switch the tank from being hard to soft water. Serpents like stability, so they are not the best fish to add to anything other than a very well-established and mature tank that's not going to crash or go through any swings or cycling or any such thing. But so long as the tank is stable, then they can live in a wide range of water conditions, with temperatures anywhere between 20 and 28 degrees C and a pH somewhere between 6 and 8. So they sit in that very comfortable range that many other species are happy in as well. And on another note about setting up their tank, make sure you are 100% happy with the tank itself before you add any serpents to it. These little fish are cunning little escape artists. They are extremely good at hiding and just not being where you think they're going to be. And so they are an absolute devil to catch if you need to get them out of the tank for any reason. Effectively, once they are in there, they are in it for life, unless you are willing to completely demolish the tank just to scoop out some loaches. At least when it comes to feeding them, serpents are extra accommodating and they will eat pretty much anything. In fact, stopping them from getting fat can be half the challenge. Those whiskery little barbels on their chins make perfect food detection devices, and they will very quickly find anything that sinks down to the substrate. Which is a point. Food does need to actually sink down to the substrate, past the hungry mouths above, and touch the floor for the serpents to be able to get it. They are very poor at taking food from the water column, so make sure you're feeding the tank enough that food's going to settle down where they're able to find it. But they will eat anything. Flakes and pellets, live food, frozen food. They are perfect little scavengers if you're looking for something to clean up in all those nooks and crannies around the tank. Of course as well, being a greedy loach, serpents are definitely not shrimp safe. They can really only be kept with the largest of adult neos or amanos, as they will happily go hunting for shrimplets or any shrimp up to about a centimetre in length, and if they find them, they will absolutely eat them. And because serpents tend to occupy the same sorts of places that shrimps like to hide in, around narrow, complicated hardscape, well, then those shrimps in the tank, looking for a nice safe place to go and molt, will practically walk up to a serpent asking to be eaten. And I also have a sneaking suspicion that serpent loaches might eat snails as well, such as young ram's horns and bladder snails, because I have never managed to grow a pest snail plague in a tank that has serpents in it. It might be that they eat the eggs or the small snails, as I've never actually caught them in the act of doing either, but I have certainly found that snails really struggle to get established when they've got serpents around them. Take that as you will, possibly useful information if you're having a pest snail problem. Overall though, serpent loaches are an easy species to keep. They are very peaceful, and you could set them up in their own biotope in a riverine-style tank, or you can just add them to a community. That is, of course, if you can find them for sale in the first place. Anywho though, I hope you've enjoyed this little video, all about serpent loaches. Happy fish keeping everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye!